Hey YouTube, we're back with another Mach E video. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about a company called Recurrent. You can go to their website at recurrentauto.com. I'm sorry for my international friends. Right now, this is only available in the United States. So only US only right now. What Recurrent is, you sign up for them, download the app, or actually sign up via the website, and then they kind of come into the Ford Pass app and collect data points from the vehicle. So from the Mach E, and as you can see right here, they've collected 87 different data points from my Mach E between May 2nd and May 31st. So the way this works is at the start of the month, it will start collecting the data points specifically related to the battery. This is all about battery health, okay? And then what it does is it gives you some ranges, like where are you charging, what's your average charge rate, where is the optimal band for your vehicle, and then sort of looking ahead into the future based on the characteristics so far, what will your battery performance be in 1, 2, 3 or more years from now. So as an EV owner, this helps me sort of decide when the best time to charge the vehicle, what's the best charge rate to keep it at, or the capacity to keep it at. If I was a prospective EV buyer, I could ask for a Recurrent report on a vehicle that maybe didn't have a report available, and that will give me a snapshot in time. Where is the battery health of this compared to other vehicles? And really what sparked me to get interested in this is me being a hands-on person. I'm used to getting under the hood and tinkering with stuff and checking things. And as you may or may not know, if you're an EV owner, there's not a whole lot that we can do in these vehicles, and I kind of feel helpless at times. So this is a way where I can look into, in my opinion, one of the areas that I really can't do anything with, and that's the battery. This will at least give me some insight as to what's going on, and it's from a third party, so I don't feel like it's going to be skewed. And I'm not paying for it, so I mean there's no incentive for them to like keep me here and give me a bunch of fluff or anything. So that's why I did this. So anyways, this is the first page of the Recurrent report. You sign up for it, and it takes a month, of course, because it's got to collect the data. So for me, this is from May. So May 2nd to May 31st. My daily average driven miles are 23. My charge rate for the vehicle, I've gotten it down to 6%, which let's just say that wasn't me driving when this happened. And the peak rate I had it up was 98%. The regional average and high-low temp for the area that I'm driving in, so 79 at a peak, and I can tell you in May we didn't get anywhere near 79, and then the low being 27. It tells you the current mileage, and then of course that it's a battery electric vehicle. So then the second page, now this gives me all about range here. So right now, for the last month, I've been getting 257 max miles on a full charge. Now keep in mind, my temperature, we had a very cold and wet spring. Even for Minnesota, shocker, it was cold and it was wet. So I don't know. I would say on average our temps were in the 40s to 50s, if that helps at all. So what you can see here is if the temp was down at 15 degrees, if we're going back to the winter, could probably expect about 184 miles. And I would say that's pretty spot on. The temp was 76, we'd be getting in the neighborhood of 257. And then, of course, as it gets warmer, 256. My hunch is that if I had 90 degrees as an average temp, this would actually be lower. But we'll get to see that in the future here in the summer as we move on. My 3-year projected range, 188 to 243. This, of course, is factoring in temperatures, age of the vehicle, miles driven. So this is just sort of a general range that I could expect. And then, of course, the original EPA range being at 270. And then this is kind of just the larger region of data points that it's been collecting for similar vehicles, of course. So it wants to compare you to other Mach Es. It doesn't make any sense to compare me to a Leaf or a Tesla, because you got to compare apples to apples. So this is where it's collecting the data points from, and the temperature swings and things like that. So these are the charging insights here, and this might be one of the more useful things for me. So my average state of charge was about 41%. That's where the vehicle typically was. So this took 87 total data points, total observation points, and that's how it's coming up with these numbers. What you can see here is the state of charge. So this would be 0% charge down at the bottom here, 30, 80, and 100. So you've got kind of this sweet spot where you want to be between 30 and 80. And of course, if you could split the difference between those two, this is your target zone. So what I found really interesting is so each one of these dots is a time between essentially May 2nd and June 1st or May 31st where I charged, where I plugged in my vehicle. So take a look at all of these dots basically below the target zone here. That's really interesting to me because maybe, what is that, 60% of the time I'm actually plugging this in below the target zone. And essentially what Recurrent is saying, based on the information that we have on these batteries, you're charging below the optimal zone. And by continuing to do that over time, you could potentially degrade or shorten the life of the battery. So that's really important to me. I'm going to make changes based on this. So what Recurrent is saying, hey, try to get up there more in the 30% instead of charging when you're down here like in the 25% range or 20% range. Ideally, if I could be in the 40s or even higher, that's more beneficial. So if you're coming home from shopping or if I'm coming back from work and it's at 40%, I should be plugging that in and not waiting for it to get down to 20. So I learned a lot from that. I thought that was really cool. What I'm interested to see, and I'll do a side-by-side comparison. So here we have May. Check out all these dots below that target zone. Now, based on this, if I'm able to, on a regular basis, charge at above 30% state of charge, I should be seeing all these dots moving up into this target zone, and then I know, hey, this is a perfect sweet spot. This is right where I need to be. I'm doing better. So I thought that was really cool, and I will make some changes on my styles after seeing this. Now this is a comparable range versus similar vehicles. So obviously the battery's only a year old. We got plenty of time in the warranty, not only miles but also years. But take a look at this. So you've got similar vehicles. This is your range here. So 200 miles at the bottom, 310 at the top, and this is me. I am just above the bottom of the average. So several points here. One, I would say I'm probably down here, first of all, because I've got the GT, and it doesn't typically get as good of mileage if they're comparing this just to the regular Mach E, just from a performance standpoint. Also, being in Minnesota with our colder temperatures, and especially the cold spring that we've had, we all know that when it's really cold like that, it's super hard on the battery. You're using a lot of the peripherals as far as the heaters and seat heaters and battery heaters are going, so it's really draining on the battery. So I would expect when I get my June report for my vehicle here to be moving up a little bit. I don't expect it to be smack dab in the middle or even towards the top, but this is telling me that I'm kind of down here towards the bottom a little bit in my range. And what was my average, like I think they were saying like 257 or so. So this is, how does it compare to similar EVs? Just sort of an insight for me as far as range versus similar vehicles. And then lastly, it gives you some market trends here as far as what the value is. It went up a little bit from last month. It talks about other vehicles that are for sale. So in April there was 337, and now in May there's 408. So there's more vehicles for sale out there, which could fluctuate the price a little bit. But it just sort of gives you, if you were looking to sell right now, what are some of the trends for my particular vehicle? And I could just use that for, I guess, some leverage if I was going to a dealer or I was selling private party. But anyways, I hope you found this helpful. You can go to recurrentauto.com if you're a Mach E owner, or if you have, I think they support over 40 EVs. So if you have a Nissan Leaf or a Chevy Bolt or some of these other vehicles, go to Recurrent Auto, take a look at their website, and see if your vehicles support it. And maybe consider doing this. I found it pretty helpful. And I'm interested to see, as time goes on, how does my habits change based on these free reports. Remember, sorry guys, US only right now, so you got to be in the United States to take part, and check back on their website to see if they'll be expanding internationally. I would imagine they would at some point. They're a newer company, so they are growing, and the nice thing is the more people that get involved in this, the more data points they have to compare off of. So that's kind of helpful, I guess, as a whole. Anyways, I could see these being like the Carfax reports for EVs specifically. So it's just nice, not only as an EV owner, but when I go to buy and at some point, or when I go to sell, I can say, hey, look, based on these Recurrent reports, I've been following the advice, I've been taking care of my car, so you're going to have a vehicle, 5 years down the road that the battery is still dependable and you're going to be just fine. So hope you guys found this helpful. Please give the video a like. If you haven't, consider subscribing. We'll look forward to posting some more Mach E videos here very soon. Talk to you guys then. See ya.